Hi there, and welcome to the State of Education presented by One Room Education. I am so glad that you found me today. My name's Katie, and I'll be your guide as we discuss a wide range of topics as they relate to the educational world. So come on in and have a seat. I just wanted to take a few minutes and introduce myself and the general thought process behind the structure of each episode of the State of Education that's to come. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I've been working on this for quite some time, and the thoughts that it's actually going to come out and it already has support from you, I can't begin to tell you how humbled I am by that thought. I wanted to let you know how much I value your time, and I wanted to give you generally what you can expect from each episode moving forward. Each episode is going to have 4 main parts within the episode, and the first part is going to be the historical evolution of education. So, whatever topic we're talking about that day, how did that topic come to be within the educational sphere? Because I'm going to be talking about a ton of stuff that you're like, why are you talking about that on an educational podcast, Kate? But I want to make sure to give you framing of why it's important to education in the big picture. So that's going to be included probably first off in just about every episode of the State of Education that's coming up. The next thing we're going to be talking about in each episode is the ways that the current education is or isn't working for the average everyday person in America. I am located in Ohio, USA, so everything that I talk about is going to be American centered, but almost all of the underlying theories of education and underlying values apply to pretty much everybody around the world, but it will be US centered. Then, after I tell you the history of the topic and why it's important, then we're going to talk about practical advice on how to take back the reins in regards to your own education. So, whether you're a parent, a student, or a teacher, how are you going to be able to work to fix whatever topic I'm talking about that day within your own education system? And sometimes that's just something you can do in your personal life. It doesn't have to do with the greater system itself. So, I will offer practical advice. I'm not just going to leave you hanging and depressed, I promise. Then, at the end of each episode, my goal is to empower the next generation to understand their freedoms and the real education they are entitled to. This means that every single person, it doesn't matter whether you're a parent or whether you're a teacher or whether you're the student themselves, every single person in a society is responsible for the education of the next generation. It's that idea of, it takes a village to raise a kid or whatever. It's the same general idea, but it's applied specifically to education and practical application of that education as opposed to the physical, emotional well-being of a child. So, now that we know what is going to be in each episode, let's talk about the main points and why I decided to create One Room Education at all, right? Katie, you're just this random person on the internet. Why should I listen to you? So, let's go ahead and talk about my background a little bit. So, I describe myself as a homeschooled kid turned certified public educator and now private tutor. And I think that pretty well encompasses my sort of unique educational background. I was homeschooled pre-K through 8, and then I was mainstreamed for 9 through 12. So that means that I was homeschooled up until 8th grade, and then I went to public high school. Somewhere along that line of early education and secondary education, I decided that I wanted to be a teacher with great influence from my grandma, who was a 3rd grade educator. And she used to let me put the stickers on the papers of the people that got A's. And I remember that was just the highlight of my day when Grammy would let me put the stickers on the papers because those kids did a really good job. And that was her way of making sure that they knew that. And I was like, that's so cool. And my little, like, 6 year old brain was like, that's the best thing ever. And I have to say, like, full disclosure, as an adult, like, I still use stickers to motivate people. And I hate to tell you, if you are one of those people that says, oh, if I got a sticker on something today, I would just think that that was silly. I mean, you might think it's silly, but I guarantee you it would make you happy somewhere deep down inside. Because in my private tutoring practice, I've used stickers for everybody from elementary school students clear up through vice presidents of companies. And every single person that's gotten a sticker on a paper from me has gotten the biggest smile on their faces. And it's just because it's silly. It's silly and it's fun. And that's what education is to me. Yeah, it's serious, but it's also about putting the fun and the personal connection back into that educational experience. So, after I graduated high school with this general love of learning and love of teaching that grew out of the mentorship of my grandma, I decided to go ahead and go to college for a teaching degree. I received my bachelor's degree in secondary social studies education and a minor in history from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania in 2010. I started my private tutoring practice while I was actually in college. And I've been tutoring for over 10 years now, which is crazy. That's crazy to think it's been that long. But over that 10 years of tutoring practice, in addition to my classroom experiences that I've had as a short term and long term sub, I have helped hundreds of students. And the main way that I find students need help isn't necessarily in the subject content matter, but in their abilities to actually learn how to learn. Because in elementary school, in our current system, they're focused on how to conform, how to pay attention, and all of those things. And then they focus on the content itself, which, yes, all of those things are important for someone to learn to become a member of society. But what they're missing is what the secondary and post secondary teachers are expecting. And that's that when I sit in a classroom and as a high school teacher and I get history students in, and if I assign a paper, I expect them to know how to write that research paper. But they don't. I expect them to be able to go home and read and be able to apply what they read, but they can't. And that's the main thing that I help people with is being able to take what they're learning, whether it's through research that they're doing themselves for a paper or something, or whether it's through the assigned classwork, how to take that information and apply it to the real world and see how it affects you as an individual. And that ability of how to learn and then how to apply what you've learned is what's completely missing from the modern education system, at least here in America. So, after seeing this problem year after year after year, and it's just getting worse, I felt that I had to do something to help because as a private tutor, I can help kids one on one. And that's great, but I can only take on so many students every year. And I don't teach in the classroom anymore. And if I did, I still wouldn't be able to apply the skills that I use and I teach as a private tutor because of the sheer number of kids that I would have to deal with on a daily basis. So I felt that I needed to help more students in some way, especially after everything I've seen go on over the past 2 years with the pandemic and its effect on the education and the students specifically. So, the main point of the State of Education podcast and One Room Education in general is to point out the problems within the modern American education system and then to empower you. Whether you're a parent, whether you're a student, or whether you're the teacher in the classroom struggling to figure out how to help the most amount of kids at a time. I want to empower you to take back control of your own education and relearn how to learn, and then be able to pass on that knowledge of how to learn and then how to apply what you've learned to your life. Once you're able to do that, once you're able to pass on that knowledge, you're golden, and so is society. So now that you know a little bit about me and what my plans are for the State of Education podcast, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to start this journey with you as we discover and discuss the state of education. I hope that you'll subscribe to this podcast on whichever platform you happen to be listening to me on, so that you don't miss any of the tantalizing educational-based topics that I have in store for you. I'll be uploading new episodes every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, so make sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on anything. If you would like a full list of resources on various topics I'm going to be covering in the weeks and months to come, please make sure to head on over to one-roomeducation.com. Again, that's one, the word one, O-N-E, -room education.com. That's where you'll be able to find a full list of references for all of the episodes of the State of Education, as well as original articles by myself and contributing authors on a wide range of topics, always viewed through the educational lens. While you're there, make sure to sign up to get notifications when One Room Education content is posted straight to your inbox. And if you are interested in seeing some behind the scenes content and staying up to date on what is going on behind the scenes, please make sure to follow us on Facebook at One Room Education, all one word, or on Instagram at oneroom_education. With that being said, I wanted to thank you so much again for joining me today, and I can't wait to start this journey together. I'll see you on March 1st as we start our discussion on the state of education. See you then.